Hi, Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with Astrology Mojo. I want to help you get your mojo back. Yes, I do. And we are going to be talking today about a couple of things. About Uranus in Taurus, but also how that really basically represents radical practicality. Now, I've been up since 4 a.m. Okay, my time it is 10 a.m. And during that time, I woke up suddenly, as I have been the past week. And I'm already having a conversation with people in my head about things. And so it's just part of how I guess I am learning and growing and experiencing my world and how I want to help you experience truthfulness in your world. So what the thoughts rolling around in my head were, and my husband and I were talking about it because he was awake too, were the validity of understanding astrology itself. Uranus is a planet that represents astrology, among other things, but we're going to get into that in just a sec. So come and say hello to me. We are going to really delve into what that sense of freedom means, what it's like, where are the restrictions. When people sometimes talk about astrology, they'll tell me, oh, I have such and such a planet transiting my whatever house, and that's why this is happening to me. And I'll say, really? Let's think about that. Because if you're someone who believes that the planets are in fact conscious and doing something to you, then that's a whole different conversation versus the experience of utilizing the energy of what something represents. Like saying the celestial bodies. My husband helped me to define this sentence. He came up with this sentence because I was grasping at 4 a.m. on how to have this conversation in my head, with you guys and also with him. That because I was thinking of the originists that existed in the second or third centuries, and they were a faction of people who believed in astrology, and some metaphysical arts, but they also believed that the planets were conscious of their movement, therefore directed us. So when I actually had to research that for the first book that I wrote, Aries Fire, I had to stop and think about that and say, wait a second, what a cool group of people, number one. But number two, do I believe that? No. And that really started to change my world 20 years ago and 15 years ago about how I was looking at astrology. And so the sentence really that Dean helped me to put together was the celestial bodies behave according to natural laws. That's what he said. And I was like, yes, that's what I want to say. So thank you, Dean. On 5 hours sleep, I was like, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they behave according to natural laws, and we feel everything. We're sentient beings, so we feel everything. Okay, makes sense? But at the same time, we also behave according to our experience and morality and ethical actions or thoughts and our personal will, because we have choice and we make choices. So it isn't that we don't feel planets, we do, but they are not conscious of directing us. Hey, Lucy's here. So it's a combination, right, of reasoning, our faculties, our intuition. Because when you're in a body, you're combining the body, mind, spirit triad, the trio, and that trinity creates a whole new experience of experience. A lot of people will say, oh, I went on a roller coaster ride and I had that experience. And I will think, you are the experience. right? You are, yeah, it's a verb because you're doing something and you're responding to it, but you are the experience on this earth. So when we talk about astrology, and I'm going to talk about Uranus in just a second, when we talk about astrology, I want you to understand that you have power, you have choice, you have reasoning, you're spiritual, because you're a sentient being, so you feel everything. You're feeling planets moving. You're feeling the phases of night and day and your circadian rhythms. You're feeling the weather, right? Imagine, and this is what I woke up thinking this morning, imagine if you were suddenly transported from this planet as your own biological self, biological spiritual self, onto a planet where the light was only ever blue. You know, it might take you a second to adjust to, wait a second, what happened to orange and purple and green? And what happened to the colors that I know? And so psychologically, you're affected. But is the planet that is blue with blue light consciously altering you? No. So therefore, you are not a victim. Therefore, you have choice as you have choices. So I want you to really understand that, because I feel like I'm evolving. There's something brewing in me, and the definitions keep pouring through me. And it just dawned on me, literally before the dawn this morning, that I needed to get clear on how to articulate that. First, for myself. Thank you, Dean, for helping me. As it continues, it's not over yet. And one of the things is, but how fascinating that Uranus, now let's get into the talk of the day. Come say hello to me. Hello, come say hello. Let me show you a couple of screenshots. Okay, so there is Uranus right there. This is today, August 20th. And there is Uranus at 10 degrees, 40 minutes retrograde of Taurus. And Uranus is a planet and by the way, I'm a Taurus, 12 degrees sun. So I understand that even though Uranus is not directing me verbally or consciously about, here's what you need to know now about your life and about your freedom or lack of. It's not doing that to me, but as the degrees are conjunct, and I looked at my own chart the other day, it's within 2 degrees. Certainly, I'm having some kind of explosive awareness. And I am. A few days ago, I was like, maybe I need to take some melatonin, a little more melatonin before bed, because I kept waking up. And that is exactly the vibe that Uranus represents, this zap of energy, this electrical stimulation. So let's get into, hang on, let me just get rid of that and show you. There's Uranus. And Uranus, little factoids about Uranus. In 1781, it was an amateur astronomer, William Herschel, who discovered Uranus in the sky, and the H in the glyph is to honor his name, Herschel. Itself, the word Uranus means cosmos or heavens and is pronounced Urano. So that's why the English version is pronounced Uranus. And in mythology, it was considered to be the god of the sky, where Jupiter was the king, Uranus was the god. Okay, who are these men giving us definitions? Where's the goddess? All right. But its quality in astrology, it represents Aquarius. Oh, and hang on. So I made this image coming up. I concocted this one too. And yes, Uranus has rings like Saturn. But I put together this image that I'm about to show you for my astrology masterclass to honor our child, whose preferred pronoun is they, and who is an Aquarius rising sign and just kind of out there in there, amazing, compassionate, creative, artistic, very unusual person. So here they are. This is not actually them, but, oops, wrong one. But it kind of looked like them. So right now their hair is orange, or like red, very red. So anyway, Uranus, the glyph for astrology, is right there. And let me just make this one a little smaller. Oh, I have so many. I'll make this one a little bigger. There she is. And then the other one, ta-da! I'll bring that down a little bit. Okay. So Uranus originally represented the, you would see a glyph of a man pouring water or air out of a vessel. So some people thought it was a water-related sign because of the waves. It's actually not. It has to do with currents and currency. So Uranus, that guides Aquarius, is an air sign and really represents now if you look at the top wave, that would be electricity, the middle would be air, and the bottom wave would be water. So it's the currents that we utilize for our technology. Now, technology a couple hundred years ago was, how do you make a water wheel and fertilize the ground? Or, how do you get the wagon hooked up to the yoke? The industry then is different than now, correct? So as we grow and change as a society, so do the definitions, or they need to in astrology. Does that make sense? So Uranus is all about radical thinking. It's rebellious. It represents the part of you that is rebellious, that is innovative, that is eclectic, that, has that out there kind of thought, random or radical, or, are you an anarchist because you think like that? Are you someone who is delving into science and space and the molecules in space itself and what's in the microscope and how it represents everything out in the world? So it's that thought that the earth is not really flat, okay? It looks round, but how are we not falling off? Let's go explore that. So the Uranus energy, as represented by Aquarius, is willing to go through a portal of constant change. Now they can polarize and it can be very stubborn energy. It is a fixed sign, but it's all about your liberation. It's all about humanitarianism and freedom and finding that unique you that is uniquely you in the whole, in the picture of what does it represent? Who am I really? How can I express myself? How can I be different? Because we're watching this show on Netflix. It's fantastic. I'm not a big sports person, but I was raised. My sister was a track star. Literally, she was on a club that one of them got to go to the Olympics or the trials anyway. And I was a gymnast. My father was a minor league baseball player. And so sports was in our house, but I was never, like go team, go. I was never that kind of a person. But lately we were watching The Last Dance about Michael Jordan. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So anyway, fast forward to the episode we're on is about Dennis Rodman. And here's someone who has blue nail polish and, will dye his hair different colors and wear blue eyeshadow. And he's a phenomenal basketball player. So it's like, I have to look up his chart actually to see, what sign is he? And I didn't. I was preparing so many other things this morning. So that is the kind of person that exemplifies. It's like radical. You can rely on me when you need to, but I'm going to be me. And I'm going to go off in a heartbeat and just do my thing because I need that freedom. I need that sense of freedom. So when we look at the Uranus vibe and the energy of it, it's music, right? Music has a currency. Music has a vibration that affects you. It can also be computers or phones or any kind of technological gadget, right? It's gauges and healing instruments, so it can deal with science and medicine as well. And, if you have Uranus in Aquarius in your chart, then that's what's called a natural placement, right? And that is, it's like saying you're the kind of person who recognizes something unusual first before the crowd does. And or you are that unusual experience. And you want to bring an adventure to life, to people. Anything from food and eclectic dining to, mood lighting to hooking up your amplifier at home to music or the lights, so that anytime you turn the light on, there's like a beat or so it's like anything eclectic like that. Does that make sense? So, the vibe is also very ambitious and brave when the energy isn't being stifled, because then it wants to break free. When Uranus is stifled, that the part of you that says, no, I need to get out. I need to get out. Like we had company for the first time in 7 months the other day. And, I don't have Aquarius in my chart, really, except on the cusp of a house, but I felt it. I felt that electric shock of, oh my God, it was like the paddles, clear. And then I thought, oh gosh, Uranus is in Taurus. Well, let's talk about that. Let me check in first and say, hi, Christine. Hello, you made it. Made it live. Hooray. So come join me today. We're talking about Uranus in the sign of Taurus, and it is also retrograde, by the way. So when we're looking at how to reason, how to come up with a solution, it's not just one thing we do. Sometimes it literally just it dawns on you. Hi, I'm here. Guess what? Something new is coming. Okay. So, a lot of times, let me just get rid of this picture. A lot of times we will become complacent. And within 4 months of our lifetime recently, we went from a certain lifestyle to not living that lifestyle to, oh, wow, things are radically different. Is the planet doing that to you? No, it's not. Our life on Earth, our collective experience, how we interact, the choices that we make, the things that we feel, the decisions that we are faced with shows us now who we are and how to make some radical changes. But also we're looking at being practical. And that's what Uranus and Taurus represents. How to be really practical during this time when everything is changing so at times horrifically for some people. From illness to death to loss of job, of insurance, of thoughts, of mind, of, wait, I had stability. Now what do I do? Do you know, right? It can really throw you. And in this time of political turmoil and heated stuff, oppositions come up even stronger. And my whole stance, because people will say to me, and I've had so many phone calls in the past, I'm running for office, for local council, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Can you tell me my chances? Astrologically or intuitively. They wanted a reading. This was back in New Jersey. And I go, no, I can't. Get out there and do what you got to do. And the best of luck to you. I'm not looking to give any one person or sector of the world insider intel so they can use it to their advantage. What I am looking to do is empower you with information that reminds you that you have the power. You are responsible for your choices based on your whole experience. So go exercise that freedom and understand that you have that freedom. Some people don't. Some people don't. And a little over 100 years ago, women did not. Here we are in the blink of an eye. Wonder what's going to happen next. I'm so excited. Okay, so, well, and let me know your experience. Like, what are you waking up to these days? Taurus, we're talking about Uranus and Taurus, and let me just show you the screenshot one more time. Okay, there's Uranus. Today is August 20th, 2020. What? 8/20/20, 2468. Who do we appreciate? Uranus, yeah. In the sign of Taurus, and it is retrograde. So there's a couple things going on here. And that means your ability to, hang on, I'm just going to move this over here like this and make it a little bit larger. There we go. That's easier. Yay! For technology that works. When I know how to work it, hooray! So this might be a time in your life, depending on where Uranus in Taurus is, that again, Uranus represents that part of you or that part of your psyche that wants to break free, bust a move, get into a groove and express that natural sense of individuality, although albeit radical for some people and under some circumstances. So that's when some people have these aha moments and get up and go, that's it, I'm done, I quit, or I'm out, or I have a brilliant idea. This is the $1 million idea. Let's do it. Let's do it now. So if you have Aquarius, sun, rising, or moon in your chart, or in any part of the planetary placement, you might be experiencing a timely innovation or awareness of your expansion into freedom and humanitarianism. There's so many other versions of what can be happening, but Taurus represents also a fixed sign, guided by Venus, represents the more grounded, and I don't even want to say that anymore because we'll call it reliable. We'll call it a different pace. We'll call it innovative, yes, but practical. Not a plodder, but someone who has to absorb the experience, see what it means, and then boom, okay, on board. Again, it depends on where you have Taurus in your chart. And you may just have it on the cusp of a house and not in a planet or in a sign. In your sun or rising signs. So this is a really interesting time because Uranus is going to be in Taurus for a little while longer. And during that time, we're looking at total, it stays in one sign for 7 years. And that's due to retrogrades and, backwards and forwards from our point of view from the Earth. So by the time January 14th, 2021 comes by, Uranus is direct. So we've got, let me see, what are we in? August, September, October, November, December, 5 months of Uranus in Taurus retrograde. And so, as I've said before, the retrograde planets don't mean don't do anything. A lot of people will say, oh, retrograde, I can't do something. No, you live your life. You're making healthy choices. And in the healthy choice is anytime you think you've become rash, or if we're looking at extremes. So anytime someone says, "Hey, you want to go to yeah, sure, I'm in. Just what time? I'll meet you there." Well, wait a minute. Well, let me give you all the details. Why don't you sit with it? That's the Taurus part. It's like let's be practical. Why don't you sit with that for a minute? How does it feel? How do you envision it? What do you think? So you got to slow it down. But also, if you're procrastinating out of fear, that's when a part of your psyche wakes up and says, how long are we going to go over this data? When are you going to start trusting? That's radical, right? Trusting without the data. When are you going to start believing before you see? Because where most people would say seeing is believing, right? You want to start believing because you are manifesting a reality. And if anything that Uranus represents, it is that radical notion that you can create your own world. There's physics involved. There's intuition. There's biology. It's everything, right? So you want to start thinking about, well, what do I really believe? In Taurus, it's whatever gives you that sense of security and value. It's that feeling of, I can proceed a little bit with caution because this is a new territory, right? Uranus and Aquarius is the vibe of braving, pioneering all industries. But in Taurus, it's saying, I'll meet you halfway. Like I booked a flight trusting that I would be fine to go visit our kid in Portland in October. And I was so excited to book an event with Steve Nobel. And he, I believe, just canceled it because coming from England, there's a lot of restrictions and quarantine and etc. So, okay, that didn't happen, but is it stopping me from going to Portland? No. I'll find something else to occupy my time. I'm feeling a little bit more adventurous. I'm feeling like, okay, and some people would rationalize it and say, at this stage in my life, if I don't do this now, now's the time, because if not now, when? Okay, and some people are born thinking like that and acting like that. I was not. So whether it's an astrological transit, whether it's me saying, you know what, I really do trust at this point, it's my experience. It's my experience to look at a calendar and say, oh, no, it feels right, I'm going. Even during a Mercury in retrograde. So the retrogrades ought not stop you, right? So when, remember, it's our perception. From our perception on Earth, we look out at the planets in our neighborhood and we say, oh, are they moving backwards? No, it's their apparent motion as compared to our motion because they're on an elliptical plane, right? So it's like they're further away. It looks like they're moving slower. They're moving backward. No, we're having this collective experience of motion. So when your mind gets blown by information or a sudden thing in your life, an opportunity that comes your way, a tragedy that befalls you, you have a reaction, you have a response. And then in that, a responsibility to do the best you possibly can for you. And take it on yourself to say, okay, for me, this is radical. But I'm also going to be practical. So that I can do both. So that I can experience my life and not come from a place of fear. So Rikara says, now I got to watch the replay, but I'm here. Okay, well then you're here. Now is now. You caught me live, hooray. Does this make sense? So when we're looking at a Uranus in Taurus retrograde, well, Uranus in Taurus alone is all about where's that plateau that you're about to reach? Where is that bridge? Do I have that postcard? I do. Hang on. I got to get this postcard. You're going to love it. Okay. A client gave this to me years and years and years ago and said, this is how I feel after I speak with you. And it's called Giacomonde by Quint Buchholz. It's a painting, but this is a postcard version of it, and it's so old, and it's got like stains on it. But anyway, look at this picture, okay? Look at this person. This is Uranus and Taurus. Do you get it? Holding on to the rope, because that's the safety net, but braving a new world, going in a direction that you've never gone before. Space, the final frontier. These are the mission. No, sorry. Do you see that? Look at that. And that's supposed to be a man, but I see it as a neutral person. I just see it as humanity creating a road that does not exist. Right? Is that not awesome? This postcard it sits for years, over 20 years. It's been sitting next to my desk because I'll look at it and say, okay, what you're about to do, dearly beloved, Prince, dearly beloved, what you're about to do is go somewhere where you've not been before. Yikes. Yay. And what do I take with me? Here's my elixir today is green. Okay. Does this make sense? Okay, so Ronnie has your moon, Uranus and Taurus. Okay, this is big. This is big. And Rakara says Uranus and Taurus in my 9th house. I want to study astrology and tarot, but I need more money, so it's going to me to procrastinate. So, okay, so if you find that you are limited, you're going to find the limitation, and the limitation comes from a belief in, several things. It won't work for me. The not enoughs mean I haven't done it, so I haven't worked hard enough. That's not enough. I haven't worked hard enough, so I haven't earned the money. But yet there might be other avenues. There might be other ways. There might be possibilities that you've not thought of. Or if you did, or they were presented to you, the collective you might say, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't take handouts. I don't take charity. I don't take, who's talking about charity or handouts, or who's saying, because if you have a thinking that says it's this or that, you're in an extreme. So you might say, well, gosh, I don't know how else to solve this problem. So let me just not solve it. Instead of thinking, maybe I could turn it around by thinking, I now allow the universe to present me with a solution. That is radical for some people. I now allow the universe to present me with a solution. Okay, we like that. That's very practical. And that's also very radical. So I want you to be able to move that vibe now and see what's the fear that's stopping you. I'm going to do an event. It's going to be called, because we bought the URL. I don't know if you saw my couple of live shows ago. I was talking about, I want to help you go from crappy to happy. And I was like, Dean, buy that URL. And he did. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, honey. So I now own it. Go from crappy to happy.com. It's not a website yet. It's not an event yet, but we're putting something together. There's just so much going on, right? And we're experiencing some great opportunities. More business for my husband. I'm getting so close to finishing up the masterclass. I'm working on Midhaven right now. And, I'm very specific about how I just don't want to throw it together and get it out there. I want to make sure that it's researched information, so if I just go by Google, which I don't, just a side thing, MC in a chart means medium coli. Now it's Latin. Now, if you go by the current translation in Google, it just means middle of the sky. No, it doesn't. Not really. It's Latin. Coli does not mean sky. It means heaven. So you're bringing heaven on earth with your MC, the thing that you want to work on, the thing that you want to present to the world. Anyway, I digress. So that's the module I'm working on. And then there's only one more, and then I record 9 more, and then we're done. And then we're going to figure out how to launch it. And I want to have 2 versions. One is the DIY, so it's a much more affordable version, and you do it yourself. The other is the Work With Me package, and that's very exclusive. So we're working out all the details. But in the meantime, if you're looking to do something, wait, we've got people here. We have people. Hi, Rhonda. Rikara, I allow the universe. Yes, you do. Shout it. Are we making sense? Let me just show you again. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Uranus and Taurus and the whole idea that the planets, not just, because I said to my husband, I want to say something different. I keep saying, the planets don't do anything to you. We live in a cooperation with the cosmos. Because I'm talking layman's terms, but I want to be more articulate. So we had this hour conversation this morning at 4:30 a.m. And I said, I keep waking up. I'm working now with Uriel has come to me. And has always in my writing, this is the universal sign for writing. Or running really fast. But today I have connected more with Uriel and hearing. I'm hearing new definitions. I'm hearing new words. I'm hearing things. Dean works with me to articulate in my writing because he's a phenomenal writer and an editor and a copywriter and a marketer. And I said, here, Blub, so we're, talking about, well, what does it mean? We are sentient beings and we feel everything. But it's like saying, you're really hot. You're you're sweating. And in front of you is like this really warm, goopy drink. Now I can drink that drink, right? Because, oh, look at that. I need water. So I'm going to drink it. But I'm still hot. It's not the solution, and I feel frustrated. But I have choices. Is looking at the empty glass now making me thirsty? It might. Do I get thirsty or thinking that I don't have water? Is it the water that's causing the problem? Is it taunting me? Is it mocking me? It depends on how I think. I can get up. I have choices. I can get up and go to the kitchen. Get some ice. Change the temperature in the air conditioner. We have this privilege to change our mind, to change our experience. And then Dean nailed it. He said, okay, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Is this what you mean to say? That the celestial bodies behave according to natural laws? And I said, yes, that's it. And he said, but they are not conscious. And I went, exactly. Like the originists I was talking about earlier, a faction of people in 2nd or 3rd century. They believed that the planets were conscious of their movements and therefore directed us. That can only lend itself to one outcome in my mind, and that's victimization. I don't wanna, but Mercury said I have to. That's not going to happen to me. I don't understand. If I don't understand something, I can't turn around and share it with you. So as I'm learning and growing, I look at what is your potential? Where do you want to go with this? What do you believe? Seriously, I'm asking a literal question now. What do you believe astrology means to you? What does it mean to you? Do you get excited about reading your horoscope? Do you think that it's going to give you a potential? Do you think that it's going to tell you something you don't already know about yourself? Because I remember reading my horoscopes when I was a kid and going, oh, it's going to tell me something I don't know. I got excited about that because to me it was learning. And then when I was 11, I sat with my aunt at the kitchen table and she was reading a big book with pictures. And I was like, what are you doing? And she said, I'm reading about astrology. And I said, what is that? And then she showed me the chart. And ever since I can remember in my falling asleep as a child, all I ever saw in my head was a circle, a line, a line, a line, a line, a circle. And it would start over, a line, a line, a line. It just kept going. And it was a chart. was like, I know that. Tell me more. Make sense? So I want to hear from you now. What does astrology mean to you? What do you think it is? What are the planets? What's your relationship? And that's really the thing that that I want to say with Uranus in Taurus. It is coming together with two very compatible, yes, but not always ideologies of saying, I can make this work. It's like, I've talked about this before, Sister Wendy talking about sexuality in classical paintings, and she was a nun. It was, to me, that's Uranus and Taurus right there. Sister Wendy talking about sexuality in classical paintings. I was like, well, you could not put the definition together better. Also, growing up, my father he was a cool guy, double Pisces and a Scorpio. So he was a guitarist, an artist. He played in the minor leagues, baseball. He was a pitcher. He was an actor, and he had a whole collection of music that I thought was phenomenal. And one record I put on one day, remember those? And he actually started talking. This man was reading poetry or reciting something. And I'm looking at the cover of this album, and it was a blind man with a beard, and he was wearing a Viking hat. Anybody remember Moondog? Anybody? Moondog? My father introduced me to Moondog. This is a man who used to stand on the corner of, I think, 6th Avenue and 50-something Street in New York City, and he would recite his poetry. He also invented a couple of things. But there's something that he said that was so powerful for me that I remember it to this day, and that was this. So he would, let me set it up. He used to walk and sell his music or whatever he was selling on the street, and he wore a cape. He was a big guy. And he had a Viking hat with horns, a long beard, and he was blind. And he would talk on the street. At first glance, you're thinking, oh, he's a crazy guy. But he's not. When you listen to what he had to say, it was profound. He was a poet. And one of the things he said that always stuck with me, and I woke up thinking about him this morning, Moondog, was, I do not dress the way I do to attract attention, yet I attract attention because I dress the way I do. And that's how I see astrology and the planets. They are not doing something to you consciously where you have no choice, no control. However, because they exist and the relationship that you have to their meanings, their interpretations, their definitions that have been ascribed to them from the ancients, you have a relationship to that information. So Christine says, astrology for me is a way to let me know the things I may not want to acknowledge, but have to work on to grow. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Right? So, I do not dress the way I do to attract attention. Yet, however, I attract attention because I dress the way that I do. I mean, yeah, that's in a nutshell. That and Sister Wendy. This is Uranus and Taurus. It's like flipping the switch and seeing, oh, wait a minute. I keep attracting the same romantic situation in my life. I keep attracting the same kind of friend in my life. And in the end, this is what happens. I must be cursed. I must be doing something wrong. I must be thinking or doing too much. It's always down to what I'm doing right or wrong. But now let's flip it and say, okay, what if you're not doing anything wrong? What if instead you're outputting a vibration that says, this is exciting, let's get to that. And then the kind of person you are maybe doesn't have boundaries, or the kind of person you are maybe is thinking, they think just like me. Of course we're going to be best friends and hold hands and skip. And then you don't get your needs met and you wonder, what just happened? It happened again. So when you notice a pattern, And that's why I like to look at astrology for that. But because it's like, when I give a reading, astrology, I do the chart and all that, but I look at numerology. I look at the vibe of the person's name. I look at the karmic information. I am reading the person. And then I look at astrology for the timing. Let's see when this might have begun. Let's see what open doors are coming, because you have a potential. And remember, as we grow and change, so do definitions. Vocabulary changes, right? You're not the same person you were when you were 6 years old, correct? Question mark? We hope not. We hope you are expressing more of who you are. And that's how I like to see it. So we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to talk more about Uranus in Taurus and how it might look for some people on, when am I coming back? Monday, the 24th. And so how that looks, because if you're familiar with Sister Wendy, if you're not, go to YouTube. Go find her videos. They're amazing. The information that she has. And plus, she's delightful. She's just like you want to hug her and go, you are so cute. Where did you? Yeah, it looks incongruent. But because of the package, the information is received so much better, so much more. And I think that as I'm speaking now, I think that's the defining factor of Uranus and Taurus. There is a combination, a combo pack, like a toy, where you get something really cool, like a gadget, but it's like a transformer. It's very practical. It's a car. It takes you places. But in a pinch, bots assemble. What happens is it becomes something other. So I want you to start thinking about the parts of you that are resistant. I'm always going to come back to the resistance. You will be assimilated. Oh, wait. Let me just show her one more time because she reminds me of my kid. No, not that one. There it is. There. Ha! I put this. I put two images together to make it part of the teaching program in the Uranus module in my masterclass. And currents. What are the currents in your world? Electricity, air, water. What's the currency? What do you consider to be valuable? That's a Taurus thing. How are you getting to that value to move? How are you allowing that value to come to you? How are you allowing it? I now allow the universe to give me the answer, to show me the solution, to open a door, to help me make the connection. Because if you have a short circuit, then the Uranus vibe, the electricity, the water, the air, the flow cannot go. It cannot go. It cannot go. Oh, silly me. Silly me. Does that make sense? Ricard is quoting me now. The planets tell us what time it is. It's true. That's what they do. And I got that from another astrologer who said, the planets help you to plan it. I was like, oh, that's very clever because they tell us what time it is. And she said, yes. I was like, gotcha. That was part of my learning experience. Now, my time has stopped in my world because my battery died in my watch. So what time is it? Well, it looks like 10 after Sagittarius. But it's really 5 after Taurus. That's what it's really 5 after Taurus. And as a Taurus, I have to say that I haven't given it much thought, to be honest with you, because what it looks like in my chart, because I look at everybody else's chart, or I'm looking at the updates in the world for energetic downloads or how people can move their energy in a certain way. And then suddenly this morning it dawned on me that Uranus and Taurus is conjunct my sun. So I'm now thinking more about radical evolution, radical change, the ability to move something that has been stuck because of resistance. So what does that look like for you? That's where we want to go on Monday. So please come back. We're going to be talking about that and what it might look like for each of the signs briefly. So that's where we're going to go. That's what we're going to do. Go where you want to go. Do what you want to do. But remember, you are this. You are this, and thank you, Quint Buchholz. Thank you for this, because this is the ultimate Uranus in Taurus experience. Make sense? Thank you for being. Thank you for being here. And as always, I wish you peace. Wait a minute. Hang on. There she is. I gave birth to that. Okay, peeps. I'll see you soon. Bye.